The black waitress helped a drunk man get home unaware he is a billionaire, and what he did for her the following week shocked everyone. It started on a rain-soaked Tuesday night, inside a dim little diner where dreams came to die slow, except hers. Maya Brooks, a black waitress scraping by on minimum wage, balancing 2 jobs and 3 overdue bills, had no idea the drunk man slumped at her counter wasn't just another late-night problem, but a billionaire drowning in secrets and sorrow. Dressed in clothes too ordinary for someone who owned half the skyline, she wiped his spilled coffee, steadied his shaking shoulders, and whispered, "Sir, you don't have to face the night alone." Not knowing those simple words would change both their lives. She didn't chase his last name, didn't recognize his blurred face from Forbes covers. She just saw a broken human where the world saw unlimited wealth, because sometimes the black waitress with nothing sees what the billionaire with everything tries so hard to hide. But why was a billionaire drinking alone like a forgotten ghost? Why did his eyes hold the ache of a man losing far more than money ever could fix? And when the black waitress helped that drunk billionaire get home, what life-shattering truth was she unknowingly walking into? And what would he do the following week that would stun the city, the staff she worked with, and even her own heart? Maya's sneakers squeaked against the greasy checkered tiles as she hustled across Harbor Street Diner, juggling 2 plates and a half-dead coffee pot. The neon open sign buzzed like it resented staying lit past midnight, much like her exhausted bones did. Her apron was dotted with marinara stains and hope, thin, stretched, fragile hope. Rent due, phone hanging by a thread, mother calling from Atlanta with hospital bills she pretended weren't crushing her. But Maya, she kept moving, kept smiling, kept surviving. "Table 6 wants extra hash browns," Benny the cook hollered. "That's the 3rd time," she whispered. "If they get any more hash browns, they'll turn into potatoes." Yet she delivered them anyway. Tips kept lights on. Pride didn't. A gust of wet night air blew in as the diner door chimed. Maya glanced up and paused. A man stumbled in, rain dripping from his coat collar, breath sharp with whiskey, eyes unfocused like his mind had lost its map. Not homeless, his shoes whispered money, though everything else about him screamed lost. He collapsed onto the counter stool. Maya approached carefully. "Rough night?" He didn't answer, only exhaled, shoulders slumped beneath a weight invisible yet heavy. She poured him water. "Try this before anything stronger." His fingers trembled as he lifted the cup. "Thank you," he murmured, voice hoarse, cultured, threaded with the kind of upbringing ordinary people couldn't afford. "People don't usually see me." She tilted her head. "You're right in front of me. Hard not to see you." He gave a broken laugh. "You'd be surprised." Outside, lightning flashed. He flinched like the sky itself struck a nerve. Maya leaned closer. "You okay? You look like someone left the world without telling you goodbye." His eyes, haunted, bloodshot, lifted to hers. For a second, something raw surfaced, like a billionaire trapped inside a man ready to disappear. He swallowed emotion like it burned. "I lost someone," he whispered. She didn't pry. She knew grief. It lived at her table every month when bills arrived, when childhood photos reminded her of a father long buried. "I'm sorry," he blinked rapidly. "My driver left. I don't know where my car is." "You shouldn't be alone like this," she said it before overthinking. Before remembering men like him often forgot kindness had a price for people like her. He studied her face as if searching for an angle. There was none. She offered sincerity, not interest in his wallet, which ironically bulged with forgotten gold cards. She wrapped her coat around his shaking shoulders. "I'm off in 10. I'll call you a ride." "Make sure you get home safe," he whispered. "Why are you helping me?" "Because someone should have helped my dad the night he drank too much to numb the pain," she said quietly. Maybe he would have lived longer. His gaze softened. "What's your name?" "Maya, and you?" He hesitated as if his name was dangerous. "Will. Just Will. No last name. No hint he owned tech companies and skyscrapers. No sign he was a billionaire whose face sat in corporate boardrooms and news tickers. Tonight he was just a drunk man she refused to abandon. She walked him outside into the storm. The taxi headlights cut through rain. When she helped him into the back seat, he held her hand for a second, not like a man clinging to power, but like someone clinging to the last thread of being seen. "Maya," he whispered, voice trembling, "you may have saved more than just a night." Then the door shut. Taxi fading into rain. Benny leaned outside. "You sure you trust he'll pay you back for the trouble?" Maya smirked tiredly. People don't owe you just because you chose to be good. But what if he's nobody? Benny asked. She shrugged. Then I helped a nobody, because sometimes nobody needs it most. But somewhere in the dark, the billionaire named William Hale IV was clutching her kindness like a lifeline, and fate was only beginning to stir. Rain still clung to the windows like memories refusing to leave when Maya returned home that night. An attic apartment above a laundromat that shook every time machines ran. Her feet ached and her soul felt stretched thin, but she replayed the moment Will squeezed her hand, the trembling gratitude in his eyes. She'd met hundreds of customers, loud, rude, lonely, but something about him didn't fit the usual pattern. It wasn't the clothes or posture. It was the brokenness beneath the surface, like someone who once carried the world and suddenly couldn't carry himself. She tossed her apron aside and checked her voicemail. 3 messages. Her mother reminding her to pray, the utilities company threatening shutoff, and her sister sobbing about tuition. Her chest tightened. Every burden she carried had a name, a voice, a life attached. But she still breathed, still tried, still believed life wouldn't always look like bills taped to a fridge like silent enemies. She collapsed into bed fully clothed and whispered, "Lord, give me just one break." Then sleep claimed her before the echo faded. Across town, Will Hale woke in a penthouse wrapped in silence. His assistant found him asleep on the sofa, shoes still wet, coat smelling faintly of diner coffee. His temples throbbed, his heart heavier than his head. "You vanished again last night," she scolded softly. "I needed air." He rubbed his face. "And space where my last name means nothing." Everywhere he went, he was Hale, billionaire, CEO, heir, power. But not here. Not in that diner where a stranger held him together with kindness instead of deals. Maya's voice drifted back to him. "You don't have to face the night alone. No one talked to him like that. No gentle, no ordinary empathy without agenda." Grief gutted him again. His brother's funeral was 3 weeks ago, and Will still expected to hear his sarcastic good morning text. Instead, there was quiet, too much quiet, and the crushing guilt of surviving someone who should have stayed. His assistant studied him. "Whatever you do next, make sure it's stable. You're vulnerable." Public eyes, he walked past her. Let them watch, but he wasn't thinking of investors or press. He was thinking of a waitress with tired eyes and a heart that didn't flinch. Maya returned to the diner the next night, with less sleep than she needed and more worries than she admitted. As soon as she pushed through the door, Benny's eyebrows shot up. "You look like you wrestled a hurricane and lost." "I did. Her name is Life." She tied her apron. "Any excitement today?" "Yeah," Benny snorted. "Some finance jerk asked for gluten-free pancakes. Told him to go find a gluten-free life." Maya chuckled, until the diner door chimed again and a man walked in wearing a sleek navy suit that probably cost more than her monthly rent. Tall, clean-shaven, composed, but eyes drifting like he was searching for someone, for something forgotten. Her heart skipped. For a moment she thought, no, impossible. Will had looked fragile, disheveled. This man radiated authority like oxygen. He took a seat at the counter. Maya forced a professional smile. "Coffee?" "Yes, please." His voice warm, polite, but distant. Like a man counting seconds rather than moments, she poured. He watched her with an intensity that felt familiar but not identical. Like looking at the same soul through a different window. "You work late hours," he said, "late hours pay. And you do more than survive. You care, that's rare." Her brows lifted. Strange comment. "I bring coffee and wipe counters. Nothing heroic. That's where you're wrong." She blinked. "Do I know you?" He hesitated, almost confessing, then smoothed his expression. "Not yet." Something in his voice tugged at recognition, but she dismissed it. Rich men liked mysterious talk. It made ordinary girls flustered. She refused to be impressed. He paid, cash tip unusually generous, and left without finishing his cup. Benny whistled. "Girl, you attract odd billion vibes men." Maya shook her head. "Nobody in suits comes here unless they're lost." But outside, Will leaned against his black SUV, staring at the diner he couldn't yet walk into as himself. He wasn't ready, not until he figured out how to return a kindness without turning it into debt or spectacle. He didn't want to save her like a billionaire swooping in. He wanted to honor her humanity. 3 days passed. Maya worked double shifts, slept little, On Thursday morning, she found her landlord pounding the hallway wall. "You've got until Monday for rent," he snapped. Her stomach nodded. "I'll get it. How?" He sneered. She swallowed humiliation like medicine. "I always do, but doubt stalked her." Between bills, her sister's calls, her mother's quiet faith, and the invisible weight of being strong for everyone but herself, she was threadbare. That night, as she cleaned booth seats long after customers left, her reflection in the glass looked older than 24. More tired, but still here, still fighting. The diner door opened again. Maya looked up, expecting a late trucker. Instead, a man in a tailored charcoal suit stepped inside with calm certainty, flanked by a driver and assistant. The restaurant froze. Benny's spatula paused midair. Will Hale, billionaire. Recognized instantly this time. Not from the night she helped him, but from news articles and rumors about the mysterious tech mogul who rarely appeared in public. But he didn't look at the crowd. His gaze found only her, steady, grateful, full of something almost reverent. Maya's breath caught. Why was he here? Why now? And why did he look at her like she'd held him upright when the world let him fall? He took a step forward, and every person in the diner watched the air shift around them. "Maya," he said softly, "we need to talk." The world stilled. She whispered, "Will." And power, grief, gratitude, and destiny hung between them. "Before I say anything," he murmured, voice trembling just enough to reveal the man beneath the wealth, "I owe you the truth." The diner felt suddenly too small, too fragile to hold the collision of their two worlds. Customers whispered in disbelief, phones half raised as if afraid to take a photo and break whatever moment this was. Maya's pulse thundered. Her apron felt childish against the backdrop of power walking toward her in polished shoes. Will Hale stopped before her, not as a billionaire addressing staff, but as a man returning to the first place someone saw him without a title. He looked nervous. Nervous. Billionaires didn't get nervous in diners. But his fingers flexed like a pianist searching for courage, and his voice came gentle, reverent. "You helped me when you thought I was no one." Maya swallowed hard. "I didn't think you were no one. I thought you were hurting." A single breath sliced through him. His jaw tightened against emotion, weakness forbidden in his world, allowed here. "I was," he confessed. "And still am," a voice hissed from a corner booth. "Is that Hale? As in Hale Enterprises?" Someone gasped. Someone else fumbled their phone. Benny dropped a plate, but no one looked away. Will lifted a hand, and his security subtly closed the entrance, not aggressively, just enough to tell bystanders this wasn't a spectacle. "It was personal. I didn't know who you were," Maya whispered. "And that," Will said, eyes softening, "is exactly why I'm here." Her throat tightened. This felt unreal, like she'd stepped into someone else's life, someone richer, stronger, more prepared. Not the girl who counted coins for bus fare and prayed for miracles. She forced a steady breath. "What do you want from me?" A flicker of hurt crossed his face, not offended but understanding. Had people asked him that his whole life? "Not anything," he said slowly. "Just to say thank you. Properly." "Will," she whispered, unsure if her voice was shaking or her soul. "You don't owe me anything." His eyes, blue and raw like winter sky breaking, held hers. "People tell me that, but they don't mean it. You did." A memory flashed, her drenched coat wrapped around his trembling shoulders, his voice breaking in the taxi. "You may have saved more than just a night." She'd meant every word then. Still did. Benny cleared his throat, awkward and starry-eyed. "Maya? You want privacy?" She nodded, stunned. Will motioned toward a booth in the back. They sat. Silence settled between them like gentle dust. Not heavy, not tense, just full of unspoken truth. He removed his cufflinks, rolled his sleeves slightly. Like shedding armor. "My brother died last month." Maya's heart squeezed. "I'm sorry." He was everything. His voice cracked. "The better one. The brave one. The one who smiled when I couldn't." Pain rippled off him. Old grief layered on fresh loss, power unable to buy back someone priceless. "I thought success meant protection," he whispered. "Turns out it meant distance. I have money, power, influence, and I've never felt so powerless." Maya's eyes burned. She'd seen ambition steal joy from people, but never at this altitude. "Why were you alone that night?" she asked. He exhaled. "Because grief makes you hide, and wealth makes it easy to disappear. A truth. Clean and simple. You could have gone anywhere," she murmured. "Why here? Why me?" He studied her like the answer lived in the gentleness of her heartbeat. "Because everyone else sees what I am. You saw who I am." A warmth spread in her chest, fear, awe, something tender she didn't yet have a word for. He leaned forward. "I looked for you the next morning. Asked around. Came back every night hoping you'd be here. I needed to thank you in person. You didn't have to. I did." His voice firmed softly. "I need to give you what you gave me. Dignity." Her breath caught. "Respect. Not rescue. Not pity. Respect." He pulled a small envelope from his inner pocket. "Before you worry, this isn't charity. It's an opportunity. If you choose," she froze. "Opportunity?" But before he handed it over, his gaze flicked to her shoulders. Tired posture, frayed edges, strength stitched from survival. "You remind me of my mother," he said quietly. "She worked as a housekeeper before my father struck business gold. She taught me dignity doesn't belong to wealth, it belongs to kindness." Maya blinked back unexpected tears. He finally slid the envelope toward her. "Inside is my card. A direct line. And an invitation." "Invitation to what?" she whispered. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he reached into his wallet and placed a photo on the table. Two boys laughing at a lake, sunlight turning water gold. A younger Will and a brother who looked like mischief and warmth combined. "When he died," Will said softly, "I promised to honor the people who lift others, even when they're falling themselves. You're one of them." Her throat tightened. "I don't know what to say." "Say you'll think about it." She nodded slowly. "I will." He stood, smoothing his jacket. The diner buzzed again as if time restarted. "Maya," he said, pausing, voice tender but trembling with something fragile and real. "I don't know where this leads. I'm not offering fairy tales, I just didn't want to vanish without honoring you." Her heart fluttered, a mix of fear and warmth, reality and possibility. "Thank you," she whispered. "For seeing me too." He nodded once, deeply. "I'll come back next week. If you don't want me to, tell me." No pressure, no expectation, and for the first time in years, Maya felt something unfamiliar bloom inside her. Not luck, not fantasy. Hope. He turned to leave, and every eye followed him like gravity obeyed his footsteps. But his eyes returned to her one last time, soft, searching, grateful. Then he was gone. The envelope sat between her fingers like a doorway and a dare. Benny rushed over, eyes huge. "Girl, you just got visited by a billionaire, like you're the secret ingredient to his life." Maya stared at the door where Will disappeared, chest tight with wonder and fear. "I don't know what I got," she whispered, "but something big just walked into my world." And fate exhaled, shifting the air around her. The week crawled by like time knew something monumental waited on the other end and wanted to tease her. Every night Maya worked, every morning she woke to the hum of laundry machines downstairs and the ache of dreams held too tightly for too long. The envelope sat on her dresser, untouched but never out of sight. She hadn't opened it. Not because she didn't care, but because she cared too much. She wasn't afraid of failure. She was used to that. She was afraid of finally being seen, and then being forgotten again. By Thursday night, exhaustion settled in her bones like a roommate she never invited. The diner buzzed with chatter. Students, night shift workers, truckers grabbing coffee before long hauls. Normal life. Familiar life. Safe life. But safety had never felt smaller. She wiped a booth, humming softly when the diner door chimed. No suits this time. A woman in a crisp blazer stepped inside. Early 40s, sleek hair, eyes sharp but kind. Wealth disguised in subtle elegance. She scanned the room, then approached Maya directly. "Are you Maya Brooks?" Maya stiffened. "Yes, can I help you?" The woman exhaled with relief and offered a hand. "I'm Cassandra Reed. I'm Will Hale's Chief Operations Officer." A few heads turned. Benny froze mid-burger flip. Maya's stomach tightened. "Is he okay?" "He's well." Cassandra's smile warmed. "More well, I think, since he met you." Heat rose in Maya's cheeks. "I don't know what you mean." "Oh, I think you do." People like him don't often meet people who remind them they're human. Maya blinked. Compliments from Billionaire's executives weren't on her bingo card. Cassandra's expression softened. Will respects you, deeply, and he asked me to deliver this. She handed Maya a second envelope, thicker, heavier. Maya hesitated. Then slowly she opened the first one from her dresser pocket. Inside was a simple card with embossed writing, William Hale for private contact, direct line, and beneath it handwritten, You gave me dignity. I only hope to return it. Her throat tightened. She opened Cassandra's envelope next. A folded document, a letter, and a key card. She smoothed the paper open. Her eyes darted, reading once, then again, heart-hammering. It was a full scholarship offer. Not charity. A partnership. A paid hospitality and business scholarship at a prestigious private institute his company funded, including housing support, a living stipend, and guaranteed internship placement after training. It wasn't rescue, it was investment. Cassandra spoke gently. He didn't want to overwhelm you in person. He knows pride is real, strength runs deep in you, so he gave space. Maya's chest trembled with emotion she had no words for. Why me? Cassandra folded her arms, gaze sincere. Because he knows grit when he sees it, and because the world owes more to people like you than it ever gives. Tears threatened, uninvited and uncontrollable. Maya blinked them away. I'm just a waitress. No, Cassandra's voice held steel. You're a woman who helped a broken man with no agenda. You offered compassion with no expectation, and sometimes those moments ripple out into lives you never imagined reaching. Silence stretched. Hope fluttered inside her like a heartbeat waking up. Will wanted to come himself, Cassandra continued softly. But he didn't want you to feel cornered. He'll be here tomorrow if you want to speak to him. Maya nodded slowly. I'll be here. Cassandra squeezed her hand and left the diner just as quietly as she came, like someone delivering destiny and disappearing before the world could thank her. Benny crept up behind her, eyes wide as frying pans. Girl, you about to go from waitress to queen of opportunity. Maya laughed through the lump in her throat. I don't want to be queen. I just want a chance. You got one. She stared at the papers again. A chance, a future, a bridge where there used to be cliffs. That night, Maya sat in her tiny apartment staring at her reflection in the warped bathroom mirror. A girl who survived. A girl who served. A girl who hoped in quiet, stubborn whispers when the world gave her reasons not to. She whispered to herself, to the tired eyes staring back, you're allowed to rise. The next evening, the diner hummed with its usual rhythm, until a luxury SUV rolled up and tension rippled through the glass like a cinematic tremor. Will stepped out, not like a billionaire stepping into a small world, but like a man stepping into meaning. He paused at the door, scanning the room. When his eyes found hers, something inside both of them settled. He approached, not towering, not commanding, simply present. You opened it, he said softly. I did. And it's overwhelming, his expression softened. I didn't want to take anything from you. Only offer what the world should have. You didn't take anything, she whispered. You gave me breath. Emotion flickered in his gaze, raw and unguarded. You gave me that first. A beat passed, warm, alive. I don't know where this leads, Maya said honestly. Neither do I, Will replied. But wherever it does, we walk it with dignity. Her heart steadied, no longer afraid. I want that, he smiled, not a billionaire's polished curve, but a man's shaken gratitude. Then let's begin. And in a small diner on an ordinary street, where a black waitress once lifted a broken stranger, two lives shifted, not in fairy tale magic, but in the quiet miracle of humanity meeting humanity. Not a rescue, not a reward. Just two worlds finally seeing each other, with dignity, tenderness, and new beginnings rising like dawn.